You may have noticed some resemblance between Mandalorian and the first Game of Thrones spin-off. Why is this the case? According to the appearance of things, both of them are novellas depicting aspects of reality from their protagonists' day-to-day existence. Keep an eye out for updates on this issue. To begin with, let's have an overview of the subject. Condal eventually went to the entertainment industry and met Martin when filming his first television pilot near Santa Fe, where Martin has spent the majority of his life. Over the years, the two became friends, and when HBO decided to start searching for concepts for Game of Thrones spin-offs, Condal was invited to offer his idea. However, the concept he devised was not totally acceptable to HBO at the time. "I've talked a lot about Tales of Dunk and Egg and how much it impacted me," Condal added. "I felt it would be a nice shift since it's a lot smaller tale on such a big screen. It'd be like pitting The Mandalorian against a massive $250 million Star Wars blockbuster. I believe they were more interested at the time in pushing something quite different and very far away. Tales of Dunk and Egg is a collection of A Song of Ice and Fire prequel stories written by Martin in between the major volumes of A Song of Ice and Fire, the basis for Game of Thrones. There are 3 novellas in this series: The Hedge Knight, The Sworn Sword, and The Mysterious Knight, with at least 4 more planned. The stories chronicle the exploits of a teenage squire named Egg and his devoted Hedge Knight companion, Sir Duncan, the Tall Dunk, as they journey around Westeros 90 years before the main novel's events. Moving on, more details on Condal's comparison. Similarly to how The Mandalorian follows the title Din Djarin, Pedro Pascal, also by Game of Thrones, the focus of the novellas tend to be restricted to Dunk and Egg rather than the rest of the creators of the Star Wars galaxy, which is why Condal draws parallels between the two shows. Despite their focus on street-level characters, both Tales of Dunk and Egg and The Mandalorian feature important figures. Unfortunately, HBO wasn't delighted with Condal's Dunk and Egg pitch in the mid-2010s, perhaps because at the time Condal was giving it The Mandalorian had not launched yet on Disney+, and therefore had not yet demonstrated the path of the smaller franchise tale on TV is possible. The Red Moon, also known as The Long Night, became the first Game of Thrones precursor to officially be proclaimed. When HBO scrapped this big project, they unveiled a slew of other ones, one of which was the first House of Dragons. Interestingly, HBO came around to Condal Dunk and Egg idea in the end. A TV show based on Martin's 3 Tales of Dunk and Egg short stories was announced by HBO on January 21st, 2021. According to Diversity, Martin said in March 2022 that Steve Conrad, Patriot, would be leading the cast and that the first season would focus on the events of the Hedge Knight. What can we expect from Tales of Dunk and Egg? The Hedge Knight? Game of Thrones fans can use Martin's book as a guide for what to expect. The Tales of Dunk and Egg novellas is set around 90 years before the Game of Thrones series starts. It describes the exploits of Dunk, the poor knight and future Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, Sir Duncan the Tall, and his squire Egg, the future King Aegon V. Targaryen, as Westeros recovers from the Blackfire Rebellion, which pitted Targaryen against Targaryen in a violent war for the Iron Throne. Dunk and Egg roam the vast terrain, competing in tournaments for daily bread and frequently encountering historical events. Dunk and Egg are united for the first time at a jousting tourney gone badly in The Hedge Knight, the series' debut novella. Dunk and Egg become embroiled in regional land wars between lords and peasants in The Sworn Sword. In The Mystery Knight, recognizable characters such as Walder Frey and Baron Stark appear as Dunk and Egg investigate a plot to assassinate Dunk. Martin hoped to write 7 to 12 Tales of Dunk and Egg entries, but like with The Winds of Winter, his best intentions were dashed. Martin had stated that he would refuse to greenlight an adaptation of the Tales of Dunk and Egg until he completed all of the scheduled installments, but his plans have altered. What role does Egg play in the Targaryen saga? Do you remember Master Aemon, the wise old master who served as Castle Black and was Jon Snow's trusted advisor? The Egg has an elder brother in him. Egg/Aegon were crowned king of Westeros after Maester Aemon, who had already sworn his maester's vows. Rejected to take the Iron Throne because he was already bound to his duties as a maester, Aegon's first official act as king was to exile Lord Brynden Rivers, who became known as the Three-Eyed Raven. Lord Brynden Rivers had joined the Night's Watch but had become separate from the group beyond the Wall. Aegon's reign ended when he and many other Targaryens perished in an unfathomable fire at their summer palace. However, Aegon's infant grandson, Rhaegar Targaryen, was able to escape the blaze alive. Fans of the show will recall the shocking revelation that Rhaegar Targaryen was Jon Snow's biological father, making Jon Aegon the great-grandson of Rhaegar, who is in the Tales of Dunk and Egg cast. We have heard nothing about the film's cast without a confirmed release date. Being so early, it's hard to tell if casting has even begun. You have entered the realm of progress. Production on House of the Dragon has just started, but we already know who will play the lead roles of Viserys Targaryen, Paddy Considine, Alicent Hightower, Olivia Cook, and Daemon Targaryen, Matt Smith, and Rhaenyra Targaryen, Emma Darcy. Seeing as Martin's Dunk and Egg novella take place several generations after the Targaryen Civil War claimed to be the subject of House of the Dragon, it's pretty improbable that any of the actors mentioned above will cross over, just as Game of Thrones cast newcomers like Maisie Williams as Arya Stark, alongside established actors like Sean Bean as Ned Stark, so too might Tales of Dunk and Egg. One thing is sure, whoever plays Dunk must be tall, and whoever plays Egg must be young and bald. Who are these guys regardless of their stature or shaved heads? Next up, House of Dragon's plot. The plot is based on George R.R. Martin's first novel, Fire and Blood, which digs into the Targaryen dynasty. According to HBO, the prequel takes place hundreds of years before the events of Game of Thrones. Aegon the Conqueror, the first of 3 centuries of Targaryen monarchs, unified 6 of Westeros' 7 kingdoms. Based on what we know about the characters, the series would most likely center on the first Targaryen civil war, dubbed the Dance of the Dragon. Dragons died extinct during the dance, which took place around a century after Aegon's reign. After 300 years, Daenerys was born. By introducing us to some of our primary protagonists, the new House of the Dragon film demonstrates how fast a calm fight may turn scorching. The film's extended version was shown at the San Diego Comic-Con, and by extended, we mean significantly longer. A previously published teaser also put us right in the middle of the action. History does not remember blood, the slogan says. The fact that it can remember names sends chills up our spine. New character photographs have been unveiled for the HBO's major stars. On these posters, each character's role in the program is described in a sentence. The most recent House of the Dragon posters may be seen here. Finally, the official HBO logline for the show describes what it's about. Based on George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood, the series chronicles the story of House Targaryen 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. Following that, when will House of Dragon premiere? Similar to the first few seasons of Game of Thrones, HBO has commissioned 10 episodes of the new drama House of the Dragon. Casey Bloys, an HBO supervisor, anticipated the series would premiere in 2022 on a press tour arranged by the Television Critics Association in 2020. Bloys told Entertainment Weekly, EW, in February that production for the show would begin in April, and he wasn't lying. The House of the Dragon Twitter account was started on April 26, and photo of Darcy, Toussaint, and Considine, Smith, and Cook during the first table read were shared. The production of the show may not be considered to have commenced. Finally, we have some backstage scenes of the House of Dragon. The series was co-created by George R.R. Martin and Ryan Condal of Colony. The latter will write and co-run the show alongside Miguel Sapochnik, a seasoned filmmaker who has worked on previous seasons of Game of Thrones. Sapochnik directed some of the original series' most noteworthy and well-known episodes: Hardhome, The Winds of Winter, The Long Night, and The Battle of the Bastards, for which he received an Emmy for directing, are among his credits. He will direct House of Dragon's opening episode as well as following episodes. In terms of music, it is apparent that the prequel will be able to live up to the standards of the original series. Ramin Djawadi, the Emmy award-winning composer for Game of Thrones, will return to Westeros to music House of the Dragons. Well, that makes the end of our video for today. We hope you like it. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.